Hello, everybody. WeeB'S here, and welcome back to our podcast, the Otaku Overload, episode 29. Unfortunately, from the previous week, if you guys remembered, we're like, hopefully we'll have some sort of Nintendo news. Sad to say that we have not had any news as of yet of a Nintendo Direct, but we're going to keep up hope. We'll see how it goes. However, we did have some conferences, and we're in the middle of some conferences for some other video game studios and companies. So that's exciting, and that's going to have to do with part of what we talk about. So at least we have that. So that's pretty cool. As always, though, Legend Jonathan is with me. Say hello, Legend Jonathan.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's me, the Legend Jonathan. And yeah, I'm back. How you been?
I've been pretty good. Like I said, it's been a pretty good week. Watched a few things I'm excited to talk about. I have some announcements, and stuff they talked about. Like I said, some of these companies that are kind of cool I want to talk about. And yeah, it should just hopefully be a fun podcast, overall. What about you? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Same thing, pretty good week. Did a lot of stuff I'm going to talk about, and yeah.
All right, cool. Then if you're ready, just dive in, I guess. Go ahead with your week.
All right, so the first thing I did this week, like the most major thing I did was I saw some speedrunning videos for online about Luigi's Mansion, like the original GameCube one.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that, it was cool because this dude, he beat Luigi's Mansion within a few minutes, basically like half an hour.
Wait, no way, the whole thing?
Yeah.
Was it was it an out of bounds breaking the game, or
not even
legit?
not even I beat Chauncey and then walked through the wall.
No,
No,
because I've seen that one. I've seen that. I saw someone beat in 5 minutes. I was like, what the hell?
No, I mean literally he knew exactly where everything was.
Oh, okay, that's pretty impressive then.
Yeah, and they breezed through it. And then obviously since it was the Japanese version, the text was more quicker and everything. It was much Japanese versions of video games, especially back then, they were more quicker and stuff, the text.
Huh, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
That's why Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are so easy to speedrun in the Japanese version, because the text
that explains it. I have seen some speedruns and people really do use the Japanese version, huh? That explains it,
because either one, it's too broken, or two, it's too short, the Japanese text, and they use that to speed through dialogue and cutscenes.
Yeah, because if they use the katakana instead of having to explain a whole word, they just use a couple symbols, right? And that makes it shorter, I guess.
And that makes it really short.
That is cool. I did not know that. That makes sense. It's interesting.
Yeah. So this dude, he beat it within almost an hour. And what was cool is I was like, you know what? I want to revisit Luigi's Mansion. I want to play it. I want to see if I can keep up with all this knowledge, remember where everything's at. And that's what I've been doing. I've just been playing the whole game. I've been trying to get everything, or at least almost everything, so I can get rank A and everything. I've been trying to perfect all the bosses and all that stuff without fail.
Nice.
And that's what I've just been doing this whole time,
That's pretty cool. I was gonna say, for what you saw, I mean, it sounds like you're kind of going for 100% versus a speedrun thing. But from you saw from the speedrun, I'm curious, what do you think is the biggest time saver, I guess? What really makes or breaks speedrun in Luigi's Mansion, I guess? I'm curious.
I think it's the fact that the person who was speedrunning, one, it was the fact that, yeah, like I said, they chose the Japanese version, which saves time with going through dialogue, because that game has a lot of dialogue.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, two, the majorest one is the fact that the guy, because it was a dude in the corner, you can see him playing, he knew where every little key and nook and cranny was. Literally every little thing that was supposed to show up after he would defeat a bunch of ghosts, he knew where it was at. And he would be standing right next to where it was supposed to spawn.
Oh, nice. So he actually knew all the spawn points and stuff?
Yep. So if there was a chest at one point, he knew to be standing right there to get the chest and everything.
I can see that saving time, though. You don't have to be walking across rooms and stuff, and and I guess if he knows where the ghosts spawn too, I guess that helps so you're not walking around waiting to trigger them and stuff, huh?
Because yeah, that's what he did. And then I saw another thing that saved time was that Same thing, like I guess, like the only thing maybe, like I don't know, maybe he's really good at the joystick. Maybe he did have some sort of tool assisted stuff with him, but when he would catch the ghost, he would drain the health immediately. Like he would drain it immediately from the start. And so you know how normally when you defeat a ghost, like a golden ghost, for example, it takes at least like maybe 5 to 10 seconds. We'll just say that. Well,
Yeah.
him, he would do it within like two.
What the hell?
So, because literally the moment the golden ghost would like jump scare, he would turn around immediately, pull out the light, and then press R, and then he would push the button down like really quick, and then like the health would go all the way to zero quick.
Oh, so it's almost like he was like I can see what you mean. It was almost like I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it's like he would press like basically both buttons like almost at the same time, so it would like do it like immediately almost.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That takes probably a lot of practice.
And then like he would pull the stick back up multiple times to drain the health quick.
That is crazy. It kind of reminds me of like if you see people when they do some of those Mario games like Mario Maker, or like they know how to do the things so that they can like throw the shell and jump off of it. You know what I
Like
mean?
the
That's
tricks
not
like that, I've seen it.
even, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not even like a trick you're like supposed to be able to do. It's just like it takes like you have to like man, you have to like know the frames, like throw it, jump, bounce off of it, and like oh, it's like super crazy. Yeah, it sounds like something
Yeah.
like that where you just have to like know what you're doing. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's what I saw. And then I think another one really is that like the fact that he probably has played it so many times to the point that like just playing like a different like regional version, he already knows what to do. He just kind of is like, okay, let's spam through this like, dialogue. And then when it comes to bosses, you know, he just like drags them into a corner or, whatever. Cause it's pretty cool. Cause yeah, like this dude breezed through it super quick. Like even
Yeah,
I
because
don't see myself
it
doing
was like
that.
you said it was
Yeah.
like under an hour. That's like damn, that's really quick for the whole game. Damn.
Yeah, because the game's at least like 5 hours from what I've seen.
Something
Like
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 that. If you play like
hmm
casually, yeah. Damn, that's crazy. That sounds really cool though. And I mean, I know
Yeah.
right now you're kind of just like going over it, trying to like catch everything, whatever. But it'd be cool if in the future maybe yeah you like learn some of those tricks too. That'd be kind of cool. See if you can
Yeah.
see how fast you can beat it. That'd be pretty fun to see.
Yeah, because the only trick I know that the dude did was that there's like that tea room in the third area where there's like the two what do you call it, the two little like tables and then you go on the ceiling or whatnot.
Oh
Literally,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I know where the chest is supposed to spawn. That's the only room where I definitely know where the chest is going to spawn. So I always end up catching the last ghost above the chest.
Got you. So he
And
does
then
stuff like that. He like just knows where to catch the last one. Oh, real quick,
mhm.
sorry to interrupt you. I just looked up on how long to beat. If you put the original Luigi's Mansion, it says main story on average 6.5 hours. Completion is 7 hours 52 minutes.
Oh, so it's just an hour and like a few minutes, like 20 something minutes extra. Huh.
If you want to complete everything, yeah, because I mean you can get almost everything
Really
in a
quick if you
normal
know where it's.
playthrough. So if you're like really trying to complete everything, it would just take you like a bit extra because just some extra stuff to like look for.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just say it takes anywhere from like 6.5 to like 8 hours for like the whole game. So this dude's doing like in under an hour. That's crazy.
Yeah, so he's not even collecting gold or anything. He really is out here killing people. That's literally all he's doing.
That's crazy. That's cool though. That's cool. Like good job. Good job. That's awesome.
Yeah. And the next thing I did was I watched the new I watched episode 2 and 3 of Gremlins Secrets of the Mogwai.
Oh, cool, cool,
Um
cool.
so remember how we said that in the last episode at the end they revealed like the main antagonist dude?
Yeah, yeah.
And they never revealed his name. Well, here we finally find out his name's like Mr. Green. I forgot his like first name. It's like some like American name or something like that.
It has nothing to do with the movies though.
Nope. I don't
He's
even
just
think he shows
some
up
other
in,
guy. All right,
yeah.
gotcha.
And basically, yeah, he's after, Gizmo and all that stuff. Gizmo reproduced through the water. Um, Basically we find out that this dude is crazy. He casually kills people. Like literally we see him like full on kill a person and eat the person like right
Oh my
there in bed.
God. Jeez, what the
Yeah,
hell?
like he turns a dude into like an orb, which actually was the grandpa. He grabs the grandpa and turns him into like an orb, and he like grabs his jaw and stretches it, and he like puts the orb in his mouth.
What in the hell?
And
Jesus
yeah, and
Christ.
then he starts laughing, and he starts like he's like, oh, that old man was so stupid thinking he could like fight me because like the grandpa knows magic and stuff apparently. And
Yeah.
he's like, thanks to this old man, now I know more stuff about the Mogwai and this and that. And so like
Jeez.
literally like the whole episode and the next episode after it, it's like him showing that he's like really like freaking evil. Yeah.
That sounds crazy. He sounds like a crazy like antagonist, you know what I mean? Like that's really
hmm
hardcore. Jeez, man.
And then the other Mogwai, they basically escape and they become evil later.
Oh yeah, because the
Um,
ones that come off Gizmo, they're always evil for some reason.
Yeah, it's kind of weird considering you would think that they would be good like him, but I guess it has to do with I don't know. There always has to be a bad root, I guess that's why.
That's true. I wonder
Um,
why. I wonder why they always are evil. That is kind of weird, right?
Considering it's supposed to be Gizmo, supposed to be like an internal or some weird thing like that. I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Gizmo's a bad
Uh,
parent.
I guess so. And then I think like he even says like even though it's gibberish, I think it's confirmed like the way like the main character Sam, which is the old dude from the movies,
Yeah.
he's like, are they supposed to be like your children? Are they like your siblings, your cousins? And then that's when he's like, he like replies. But I think what he says is he like says that they're like his like cousins or siblings or something like that.
Oh, weird. Huh.
So that's kind of where it gets kind of weird. But the point is they turn evil, they eat after midnight and all that crap. And the main antagonist is like, oh, cool. I don't need a Gizmo anymore. But guess what happens?
Hmm.
Because this dude, because he loves eating, like being evil, he wants to eat the Gremlins, but then it doesn't work for some reason. The reason why is because apparently something about immortality or some crap like that. And he's like, yeah, no, we have to go after Gizmo now. So for the
Uh,
next like episode 2 and 3, it's about them trying to get Gizmo and stuff.
so that's weird. So only Gizmo gives immortality for some reason.
I guess because Gizmo's like
The original
on
one.
the original and he's not evil, I guess. And so maybe like the evil
Oh, it
Gremlins
has to be
taste
like
bad or something.
pure. It has to be pure, I guess. Huh.
I
That's
guess
really
I guess
weird.
that's the theory that the guy gets. And
Man,
then
it's interesting they're adding to like the lore of why you would want to track these things down, I guess. Because
because
if
there's the
not,
three
it's
rules and then they add a fourth one, yeah.
yeah. Because if not, it would be like, why do people care for these things? They're just like these dumb little like furry creatures. But
Demon
it's like,
things, yeah.
yeah, but if it's like, oh, because yeah, you can use them to like create an army, and if you eat the original one, you gain mortality. I can kind of see why people would like be after them, I guess, you know? Huh.
hmm and then like the girl from the first episode, she ends up being like a party member of like the main character. But because she's like a bad guy in the first place, it's some weird complicated stuff. And then the main antagonist dude, he even tells her, she's like, you're like my like if you try to betray me, this and that, I'll like kill you. But in the meantime, I don't want you to tell my other henchmen, but you're like my left wing man. And then she's like, don't you mean right hand man? And he's like,
Yeah.
no, right hand means that they're like you care about the person, they're like your best friend, whatever, right? And he's like, left man means that you like you don't care about the person, you just use them or something like that.
I
And
kind
I'm
of see
like,
that because yeah, right hand man is like yeah, like your second in command. Left hand is like they're good at what they do, but I don't really.
mhm.
I kind of see what he means. Yeah.
Yeah, and then and yeah, it's the episode 2 and 3 were like really crazy. That was just like small parts, but like if you watch like the entirety of like the 2 and 3 episodes, it's like really like the stuff gets really crazy quick.
It sounds interesting. Have you seen what other people think of it? Like if it has
I've seen that a lot of
good
people gave it
ratings or
like
whatever?
that's the thing I did before it came before I watched it, I saw that like the reviews, people thought it was all right. I know some before like yeah, it was like an 81 out of like 100, and like I think Rotten Tomatoes gave it 100 or something like that.
Huh.
But like even I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try, and then like I ended up watching it. I'm like, oh, this is like really good. This is like crazy, and freaking yeah, I was watching it with a friend, and he was like, dude, this is like really good too, and he like wants to like watch more. I could like tell.
Yeah, because
Uh,
that's what I was wondering. I mean, it sounds really interesting so far, but I wonder, you know, how people can be sometimes. You know, they don't like stuff, especially if it's kind of like a reboot, revival, whatever. You know. So I was just wondering. I wonder if people like it or not or whatever. But you say that the reviews and comments seem to be kind of like mostly good too. So interesting,
mhm.
interesting.
And then guess who makes it too? Like you would think it's just some random person. It's actually Steven Spielberg.
Oh no way!
He's the director, so that's why like all the crazy stuff is in the show. because literally like he is
Director
directing it.
or producer?
Oh, that's true.
Because I know when it comes to cartoons, he's usually a producer. Let me look it up real quick while you keep talking. I'll look it up real quick. Hold on.
And I know for a fact too, like there's like a scene where like the Gremlins once they've the Mogwai they turn into Gremlins or whatever. One of them literally bites off a dude's finger and he like holds it like a cigarette on purpose to like
Oh,
mock the dude.
jeez. All right,
So like
I just pulled it up. Sorry. Yeah, it says written and executive produced, and then among the names is Steven Spielberg,
okay, so it was produced. Okay.
which makes sense because yeah, he used to produce a lot of stuff back in the day, like Animaniacs, Tiny Toons,
Yeah,
all
I
that
remember he
stuff.
used to do all that stuff.
So
Yeah.
it makes sense that he's still when it comes to cartoons and some of the games, he usually produces directing most. I think it's always been just films.
hmm
But the fact that he's producing is pretty cool though. Like that's pretty cool that he's still years later still giving it a chance,
He's a which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So that's cool that it does have some ties then, it's more part of the series, franchise than you think.
hmm
That is pretty cool, huh? That's really interesting. I never would have. Yeah, like the more I hear about it, I'm gonna have to check it out one of these days because I haven't checked it out yet. But based on what you've said, it does sound pretty interesting.
Yeah, because it goes like
And
in a dark direction, but you can tell they're trying to like, they're keeping the whole Gremlins thing like for reals. Like they're keeping it like I guess you can say like they're keeping it connected to like its source material. Like you can really tell they're actually trying to put like effort into it, you know?
yeah, I wonder if it could ever lead to a third part or anything. I wonder, huh?
hmm
Interesting. Very interesting. Pretty cool, huh? So yeah, the more I hear about it, the more interesting it sounds, and the more like it's cool to know that yeah, it's like produced by Spielberg and stuff. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. Alrighty, and was that it for your week, or do you have anything else?
Oh yeah, no, I have something else. One more thing to talk about. Um, the third thing I watched was Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I watched that.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched it up to now.
Nope, I haven't seen it up until now. Yeah.
Okay, I watched it when it first came out. Yeah, what'd you think of it? I guess is the best way to start.
I thought it was all right. Like I feel like I went in like kind of expecting it to be more better than what like I kind of heard and like from what I've seen. But yeah, no, I feel like it was just like all right. Like it wasn't like too good, but it wasn't too bad either.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I still wouldn't spoil it for people in case they haven't seen it. But I
yeah,
guess
I'm not gonna say
yeah,
anything.
just to give
Yeah,
like a quick recap because I watched it as well when it first came out. Basically, Phase 4 of Marvel has been all about the multiverse stuff. Got introduced in like Spider-Man Homecoming. I mean, sorry, No Way Home. And yeah, basically it's like, oh, Doctor Strange, this girl appears that says she hopped here from another, multiverse, and he has to protect her because there's someone, I guess that's all I'll say, who's after her and they want to like kill her for her power or whatever. And it's all about him defending that girl. He
and
does a bit
yeah,
of universe hopping, and other characters show up like oh my god, I'm totally forgetting the name of the guy who comes out with him. Wang? Is it Wang? Fang? Oh my god, I don't remember what his name is. Uh-oh. Uh
uh,
the point is
I
that guy
forgot
comes
to.
out. I feel so bad. That dude's like really cool. I can't remember what his name is. But the point is that guy comes out. Scarlet Witch comes out. We see it's not really I'm not gonna spoil it too much, but when he's in another universe, he meets I'll just say this special counsel, which is kind of cool. If it hasn't been ruined for you. And yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, his name's Wong. Sorry, Wong. There we go.
hmm
Um okay, so you say you thought it was all right. I guess I thought the same thing. What were your complaints? Like, what bothered you about it? And I guess what
I feel
kind
like
of
I feel like dude, I literally was just ready for that question. Like I literally was about to go on a tangent like right there and then. I feel like everyone like legit they dumbed a lot of the characters down here.
you think so?
Yep.
Like in what sense, I guess?
Like for example, you know how the whole point is that every single like from Doctor Strange all the way to now, including the like Avengers Endgame and like Infinity War, you know how they always depict Doctor Strange as no man, we can't mess with certain stuff, and I know what's gonna happen next, and we can't do this, and like he's always like smart and he's always thinking ahead and a bunch of other stuff. Like here, it feels like he's too like without getting into detail, it's like I feel like he's too trusting. That's how I would say it. Like
Mm.
compared to like how he usually is, I feel like he's too trusting here, especially because it's kind of weird compared to like the previous movie, which is supposed to be Spider-Man. Like I feel like it's kind of weird that's like he doesn't trust like Peter Parker's supposed to be like 18, so he has problems with an 18-year-old, but like he doesn't have problems with all these adults around him, like you know what I mean, stuff like that. And so
Hmm.
I'm like, it's kind of like they dumped him down, you know what I mean?
You think
And
for me, I wouldn't say dumbed him down. The thing that bothered me is I feel like he was too impulsive. Was my thing.
that too, honestly,
Like I
nothing but
feel like
yeah,
he
that
was
too.
too willing to, starting with Spider-Man, where like, oh, I'm gonna help him by doing the spell, and he just felt like he was too impulsive. He didn't feel like he was as much of a thinker as he usually is. I mean, how in the first movie he beats it by like outsmarting the big bad, and here he
Hmm.
feels like he's a little too impulsive. I don't really know about the trust thing. I didn't really feel that, but if you felt that, I mean, that's you. For mine, I feel like he was too impulsive. What else bothered you about it?
Uh, I feel like the middle part, obviously, again, I'm not gonna get into details. Yeah, like, I feel like the middle half of the movie is where it feels like I kind of got dumb with certain stuff, especially like the way like the characters fight, like the strength comparisons, because like you know a lot of these characters, I feel like they should be easily able to compete with other characters and stuff. Like even then,
Mm.
legit, like logically, they should still be able to like fight against them pretty easily. And here it's like they can't somehow. Like they just like something falls on someone and they're just gone
Oh, okay.
suddenly.
I know what part you're talking about. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
Oh yeah, I
why
know what
would
you're talking about. Some of the stuff in that area I thought was good. Other ones did feel a little like we just need to brush these people out of the way. I know what you're
yeah,
talking about.
exactly. And it's like logically, like if you like know the characters, they would like be able to keep up with yeah. Like they
I
would
got you. Yeah, okay. I
yeah.
know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah. Some of the things I like, some of the things I did think were like, okay. I feel like some of you, it's like they just need to brush them out to the side. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I thought problem was same thing with a lot of Phase Four. It felt like instead of just being its own thing, they were trying too hard to like set up or connect it to other things, like more references and stuff.
Yeah.
I felt that. I felt like he was a little too impulsive. I feel like he should have been more like calculated and stuff. I thought the villain, it felt like they just kind of came out of nowhere, where it's like, oh, they're after this thing now. Where did that come from? I think you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Now
And
I have a feeling. Yeah,
then
it was kind of random. Yeah.
and then I just thought the ending felt kind of like same thing. It just felt very like it
Random.
just ends and it's kind of random and it's kind of like once again, it's setting up for this other thing and like I don't know. Yeah, a lot of Phase Four felt like that. It felt kind of weird, where it felt. Oh, and one last thing that bothered me. I don't know if it's really spoiler, but it's called Multiverse, and we honestly did not see enough multiverses. I'll say that.
That's true. We never saw more than like maybe like two or like
Yeah,
one.
yeah, just like a few.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
it's
like a
like
few.
for
Yeah.
being called Multiverse, you think there was gonna be more. So yeah. But yeah, overall it was fine. I wouldn't call it like a terrible movie. I don't think it's the worst, but
Yeah.
I definitely feel like the first one was better. And yeah, I think it's just one of those things where a lot of these movies in Phase Four, because a lot of them got like planned during like the pandemic, and they were trying to balance them out with like the TV shows and stuff was kind of getting rewritten all over the place. You can definitely tell that like, yeah, there was some issues where like I kind of just wish that it would have been interesting to see what would happen if there wasn't also like interference and rewritings and trying to like balance things with like the movies and the TV shows and stuff, but I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that it for your week?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, cool. Because I actually ties into it's not exactly the MCU, but I watched something that's also a superhero movie. So I want to talk about that. And
Oh
of course,
boy.
I'm not going to spoil it, guys. Don't worry. But I'm,
Please
of
don't
course,
spoil it.
talking about the movie that just came out not too long ago, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I watched it.
That's pretty cool. I didn't get to see it. Yeah, I need to watch that
Yeah, so I
movie.
don't want to spoil it too much or talk too much about it because I know a lot of people haven't seen it yet. It's still pretty new. But what I will say is that I thought it was really good. If you're worried that it's not going to be as good because it's sequel sometimes it's hard for them to live up to it. I would say don't worry. I still kind of want to say the first one is better. I think the first one's still a little better. There's some stuff I liked more about the first one, but trust me, that does not mean the second one is like bad. It just means if like the first one was like an 11 out of 10, this one's like a 9 out of 10, a 9.5, maybe even a 10 out of 10, but not like an 11 like the first one was, where it was just like wow, you know what I mean? But it's still really good. It's really good. It's really cool. I love how it doesn't feel like it's just Miles' story. Here it does feel like they also let Gwen be almost like a co-main character. You know what I mean?
Second main protagonist.
I mean, at times it almost feels like she's a little more of a protagonist than Miles, actually, in certain parts. So that was pretty interesting.
Nice.
All the characters they introduced that were like bigger characters were really cool. Like the Spider-Man from India, Spider-Punk, Spider-Man 2099. All those characters were really cool. The visuals of, again, they might even be crazier than the first one. There's some stuff they do with some of the characters, like, damn, even more different art styles, more different, graphics and stuff going on, which is really cool. The enemy, the Spot, not to spoil it, but it's really interesting how when he shows up at the beginning, kind of what you see in the preview, he looks like he's just this goofy guy that Miles is going to fight. But trust me, by the end,
he's a threat.
He becomes kind of a threat, and it's really interesting. And yeah, that's all I can really say. I can't really say more without spoiling it. But yeah, I just want to say that I thought all the characters were good. Voice acting continues to be really good. Music's good. Visuals were good. Any complaints I might have is that not enough of the characters from the first movie.
Yeah.
Because some of them do make a reappearance, but it's like more like, yeah, you know, I wouldn't call it cameo, but it's reduced roles. Like, for instance, if you've seen the trailers, Peter B. Parker is back. And unfortunately, yeah, he's kind of more in the background because it's more like, okay, he's just kind of here to show that he has, a kid now, and that, he's just kind of showing Miles that, hey, I'm really grateful for, what you did for me in the first movie, and I'll continue to be here for you. But he takes a big background role, you know what I mean? So, like, stuff like that kind of sucks that some of those characters from the first one are more like not really here. But besides that, I thought everything else was pretty good. Something that might bother people is that for people who don't really follow a lot of news, they might be surprised that this one does end on kind of a cliffhanger. Because they had said when they were, it was originally called Across the Spider-Verse Part 1.
And 2, yeah.
And so obviously there's a Part 2 coming. And now they said, no, it's going to be Across the Spider-Verse. And then, like 9 months from now, they're supposed to release Beyond the Spider-Verse. That'll be Part 2. So some people might be a little disappointed that it is like a Part 1 and a 2 sort of thing. But, I still think it's a pretty good movie. Still feels pretty complete where it ends, complete enough. And yeah, it kind of feels like if you watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy, yes, each movie ends, obviously, like there's more to come, but they still feel like a complete movie. Where like, stuff has still happened, they still have like story arcs and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked it, and I would say go watch it. Like I said, if you were worried like, oh, the second one's not gonna live up to the first one, once again, I'm not sure. I still kind of want to say, in my opinion, the first one's better, but this one is still really, really good. So I would still say it's very, very much worth watching, and I'm really excited for the second, installment coming like in 9 months. Dude, I'm really excited. So. I recommend it. 2 thumbs up. Really, really excited.
Nice.
Yeah. Then besides that, I watched a couple of things to talk about something a bit familiar. I watched Pokemon Horizons, the series. It's funny because last time you watched it, this time I watched it. I caught up, watched the episode you talked about last time, as well as the new episode, which is episode 10. And not to spoil it, but I just thought it was an interesting episode. Finally, it seems like we kind of understand more of the actual, what the story's going to be, the quest. Where, like you said, it's like, okay, Liko got permission from her dad to travel around. She's with the crew of the Rising Volunteers, whatever the hell they're called, her and Roy. And basically, they're just searching around for clues on the Black Rayquaza. And so that leads them to this sculptor guy. And he ends up being the first, you call him the first gym leader they ran into. If you've played Scarlet and Violet, he is the guy who, he's in the town where you have to catch all the Sunflora first.
Yeah.
and then you capture them, and that's like a little quest. And afterwards, he'll battle you. He's a grass type gym leader, technically. And yeah, they basically kind of go over some of those events from like the game, and they meet, which I thought was really fun. They meet Nimona.
That's cool.
So Nimona comes out, who's like the rival in the games, and she comes out, and she's just like the game. She's like really into battling, and she's like really friendly, really like excitable and stuff. I thought that was really fun. And basically, she helps them to like talk to the guy, and after they kind of cheer him up or whatever, because he was upset about how he had run into like Rayquaza and he had a bad experience with it. Basically, Roy, being his positive self, kind of convinces the guy to like cheer up. They have a little battle. Roy loses, but at least he, leveled up. And the guy gives him a clue for the next place to go. So pretty cool.
Nice.
And that's basically it. It's a pretty short episode, not too much happens. But at the same time, kind of a lot happens. It was kind of cool that they did integrate stuff from the games. And they're just on their quest for Rayquaza. And it was fun to see Roy have a battle. So that was pretty cool. And I hope Nimona continues to make appearances because, it was really fun seeing her. So pretty cool. Pretty cool episode overall. I guess it feels nice that they're kind of like on a quest now where it's like, we're going to follow these clues to try to track down the Black Rayquaza. And hopefully by tracking down the Black Rayquaza, we'll find out more about, like the special Pokeball and her pendant and stuff, I guess. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Then the other thing I watched is that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It just started its 16th season. So over on Hulu, or I guess if you have cable, it would be on FXX or whatever. They put the first 2 episodes. And so I watched the first 2 episodes. I really liked them. I had fun. I think I liked I'm trying to remember what the episodes were about. I think I liked the second episode a little bit more. I think it was a bit more fun. But I liked it overall. I thought it was funny. I thought it had a lot of good moments. And I don't really know what to say. If you watch the show, I just think that it continues to be really good. One thing it does remind me of, though, that I kind of want to talk about. Man, sometimes I love watching shows, but I hate looking at the fandom, like kind of like what their comments and stuff on it, because the fandom I just feel like they're always like, they can be so silly and so over the top. You know what I mean? We talked about this before.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, going back to something I talked about a couple weeks ago, remember when I talked about Clone High, that like, it came back at a revival, and I thought the episodes were fine. Yeah, people like how they're like, it's only like the first season, and a bunch of stuff where like a lot of complaints are like dumb because like number one, they're like, it has like too much like gore now, it replies too much on like blood for humor, and then people are pointing out like, dude, the first season had it too. Like, how do you not remember this? Or like they'll be like, I don't like it because it feels like it focuses too much on like current day issues, but it feels like annoying, this and that. And people are like, that's literally what the first season did too. The only reason that you might feel like not as annoyed is because if it happened in the 2000s, but you didn't watch it until like a decade later, the 2010s, the issues didn't feel as fresh. So you feel like, haha, I'm laughing at something from the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if it's making fun of stuff now, it's making fun of stuff that's current. And people, it bothers because it feels too fresh to them. And like, it's annoying. It's making fun of stuff that is actually happening in real life.
Oh my God. Some people are so like...
And that's what I'm saying. I always hate the fandoms because fandoms, like, I don't know, man. Like, they just want things to be exactly how they remember it. But then, like, if you want exactly how you remember it, then go watch the old thing. Because, of course, the new one has to do things differently or new.
Yeah.
I guess people get mad at, like, remakes, for instance.
Oh, like the people who got mad at the Ursay remake that I talked about last time. Yeah.
Or, like, the people who, like, even get mad at, like, some people are crazy and they get mad at, like, the Resident Evil 4 remake. And it's like, well, yes, because if they made it, like, beat for beat, what would be the point? What would be, like, how would you justify the existence if it did beat for beat the exact same thing? In that case,
it's just gonna be the same thing.
Yeah, it's a game that's important to, like, every system. In that case, just play
the original
port on, like, whatever system you're choosing. Like, of course, they have to do something different. If not, like, what would be the point of remaking it then?
Yeah, I don't know. Some people are like, with fan bases, like, they take everything so, like, up there, like arsenal, basically.
Yeah, so that's what I hear about, that's what I hear about the Always Sunny Philadelphia. That, I don't know, like, I think the seasons are fine. Are some episodes better than others? Of course, whatever, quality varies or whatever. But people are like, is anyone else like not like the new season? I haven't really liked it since like season 10. And it's like, what
That's
is
so
how?
dumb.
And like, even if it's not as good as, let's say, like season 10, it's still a fun show. So I don't see what the complaint is.
Oh my God, that's so dumb.
You know, like it's not like it went from like an A plus to like a D. Like I would say even if it lowered, it's like a B now. Like that's still fine. Like I don't get what you're complaining about. Or like some complaints are even dumber, where like some people are like, yeah, because the guy who plays Mac, he's also the guy who created the show. His name's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Rob Mac something. And they're like, yeah, does anyone feel like he looks like too like rich and like fancy now? He doesn't look all like grimy and edgy like he used to. It's like,
That's so.
so you want people to not grow older and change. Because guess what? As people, especially if they're like he's not even like really a celebrity, but you know what I mean? If people are like making money and like, guess what? They always like start taking care of themselves and try to look better. No one's gonna try to purposely make themselves look worse.
Like,
So you're
yeah,
mad that he looks more put together versus
like
before
well
when he
groomed.
was just
Yeah.
like when he was just like an average guy that probably was like a starving artist. So now he's like in, you know, in a good place in his life, and so he looks like maybe more. You're mad because he doesn't look like he used to. Like people
Uh,
get older, they, you know what I mean? Like it's the
People
same thing.
change physically and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if they have money. No one who has money is gonna be like, yeah, I'm not gonna like lose weight and fix my teeth and like, you know, I'm still gonna look like a bum. Like no one
Yeah.
says that. Like if I had the money too, if suddenly I started making a bunch of money, like of course I'm gonna like properly like go to the gym more because I can afford it, and you know like get my teeth fixed and like maybe not wear you know glasses because I'm gonna get like contacts or laser eye surgery and like go like you know get like better clothes and stuff. Like that's what happens. Like they're older now. They're all like in their 40s. You want them to still look like how they did before, or purposely like look all like I don't get how that even like, is a complaint. Like it's so stupid.
Yes, Libra. Why would I ever want anyone to look well kept?
Like I
That's
just
literally what it
don't.
sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah, like no, he should still look how he did when he first started the show. He should still look like an average guy. That's it. Well, he of course you know people as they get richer, they have money, they take care of themselves more. They're gonna look more different. You know what I mean? I just don't even get what the complaint is. It's so stupid. And then yeah, just people like, oh man, I just don't like the stuff they write about, this and that. Well, I don't know, man. Maybe it's the fucking world's problem that the world is screwed up. So if they're making stuff fun of stuff that happens in the world, it's not their fault that like the stuff they have to make fun of is like what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Freaking. I don't
They
know,
say thing with
man.
South Park. A lot of people complain about South Park. It's like it's not freaking
Oh
South
yeah,
Park's
people
fault.
complain about it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're making fun of stuff that happens in the world around them, and the world around them is a piece of shit, and it's all crazy, then like it's not their fault. What do you want them to make fun of? That's the stuff that's like
Yeah.
happening. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, man. Point is, I still enjoy it. I the first episodes are funny, especially the second episode. I liked it. I don't know. Like, you know, is there episodes I like more than others? Yeah. But whatever. I just think it's silly how people like every time I look at a fandom, like fandoms just ruin it for me sometimes because like they can never be happy with stuff. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I wish it was like the old stuff. Then go watch the old stuff. The new stuff is not going to
Like
be like the old
don't.
stuff. It has to change over time in some way. Where the people get older, they're
Whether art.
you know the yeah like their way of thinking changes. They start using like different types of art that you know is from like this you know keep you with the times, you know stuff like that. Like stuff can't be like it was before because
Hmm.
stuff changes. Like it doesn't make sense. Like how would a show that's in current day and I'm making fun of current day stuff and the actors are older and like their sense of humor and stuff has changed, how would it still be like a show from like 20 years ago when it first started or whatever? Like that's I just don't get it. It's so weird.
Yeah. That's. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. But the point is I thought it was funny. I enjoyed it. I had some laughs. I thought it was really cool and I'm looking forward to more episodes, you know, because I always think it's like freaking hilarious. So I don't know.
Nice. That's all that matters. You know.
Yeah. And that's it for my week. All I will say before we transition to the news, though, is that a lot of anime I've been trying to catch up, and a lot of them are starting to reach their end. So within like the next couple of weeks, I think I'll probably be talking about some of them and my overall review of them. Because yeah, a lot of them are like at episode 10 out of 12, you know, stuff like that. So I am excited to touch upon them and talk about how I think they did and whether they're worth watching all the way through and stuff, you know? So yeah.
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 Alrighty, jumping over to the news. I kind of mentioned this at the beginning, but even though we didn't have any Nintendo news, unfortunately, Nintendo hasn't announced a direct or anything. We did have some news and some conferences and stuff from some other video game companies, and that's actually what our first news story is about. So, as the title of the article says, Summer Game Fest 2023, everything announced. Because for anyone who doesn't know, now with E3 basically being dead, Jeff Keighley, who is also the guy who does the Game Awards, you know, in December, he's basically stepped up to like really try to like keep video games alive and trailers and shows and all sorts of stuff. And so he started a thing not too long ago called Summer Games Fest, which is kind of supposed to be kind of like a replacement for E3 in a way, where they make some big announcements, have some people on stage, that sort of thing. And yeah, basically he had a show earlier in the week where they had some pretty big announcements. And so I kind of just want to talk about some of them briefly. As usual, I'm not going to go over everything because you can check the link in the description below, read all about it. But to talk about some of the big ones, I thought it was pretty cool. One of the first things that they showed that they kicked off the show with is that they're finally making a new Prince of Persia, which it's been forever since they made one, since Assassin's Creed kind of took over and like, you know, they've been focusing more on like that type of gameplay and stuff. But it was pretty cool. They finally announced that there's going to be a game called Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. It looks like it's supposed to be like I think it's what you call like a side-scrolling 2.5D, I think, right?
Yeah.
And basically, it's coming out for all systems January 18, 2024.
Oh,
so
wow,
I thought it was,
like next year at the beginning.
Yeah, but I thought it was pretty cool because I'm like, all right, you know, finally a new Prince of Persia. It's not a full 3D game, but it's kind of cool to at least see the series back, you know? So that was cool.
Nice.
Then after that, they showed some gameplay for Mortal Kombat 1, and they showed more of the characters that had come out, which I thought was pretty cool. I thought it was going to take place more like in the distant past, because I know they showed like a young Raiden, since he's the one who's like kind of, you know, like the regular person now, and Liu Kang's the one who's like the god now. But no, it looks like it is maybe not present day, but at least close enough, because it shows a lot of like modern stuff. Like Johnny Cage is there. One of the levels looks like it's going to be like you're fighting in his mansion, and another one is like this Chinatown looking like restaurant / bar they're fighting in. So it looks like it's going to be like present day, or at least like, you know, like within like, you know, maybe like 80s, 90s, something like that. So it's still pretty new. I thought it's not going to be in the past the way I thought it was. And it was pretty cool because they show that Kenshi's back, Johnny Cage is back. There's this thing where instead of a second, they kind of had it in, I think it was Mortal Kombat 9, where you can have like a second player kind of like tag in and do some attacks. I think in Marvel vs. Capcom, they also do it where they're called strikers, where it's a person that. What are you gonna say?
Even in Fighters or Fighter Z, the Dragon Ball game, they have that too. They have that same exact gameplay thing where a second player comes in as like an assist or whatever.
Yeah, it's like an assist. Yeah, it's not like a fully playable character. And they showed some of the strikers are like Goro, Sonya Blade, Kano, you know, people like that. So it looks like the roster's gonna be pretty big. It looks like a lot of those classics are coming back basically, which is cool. And yeah, they showed a lot of that like 2-player, you know, like team up stuff. It looked pretty cool. And so that looks interesting. I'm just gonna throw it in before I move on to the next one. Because they're definitely mixing up how the people, like who they are this time. And for instance, it looks like this time Scorpion and Sub-Zero, based on what I think I heard Ed Boon say, they're gonna be brothers this time, for instance, which is really interesting. Because in the past they've always been enemies, and here they're gonna be brothers. And then it looks like from what they showed in the trailer, Kitana, like we had kind of seen from like the teaser, it looks like she's more of the bodyguard, and Melina, she's the actual queen or princess or whatever. Yeah. And then Kano, when he shows up, it looks like he's wearing monk robes, which is really weird. So it looks like definitely people are having different roles from like the original timeline, which is cool.
Yeah.
Then one that they showed I thought was really cool, they announced a new Sonic game. It's
Oh
called
yeah.
Sonic Superstars, and it is a Sonic. It is a side-scrolling game that basically uses like the classic Sonic look from like Generations, like little fat Sonic. And apparently it's going to be a 4-player game. You can play co-op. It's Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and Amy. And because it's like the classic Sonic appearance, it's Amy when she was like the Rosie the Rascal appearance, which has like the little sweater and stuff and like the little skirt. It's that appearance, and she has the hammer. So it looks pretty cool. It's like a 4-player side-scrolling game, kind of in that like original style. And I gotta admit, I thought it looked pretty cool. It looked really fun. What did you think as like a big Sonic fan?
I'm definitely happy because we're getting our classic Sonic game, because let's be honest, Mania came out like 6, 7 years ago.
I know
Five.
it was like near the
It was
beginning
literally
of the it
2017.
was near the beginning of the Switch's life cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm kind of happy because literally like Sonic Mania was the last major like classic Sonic game. And then the point is we know classic Sonic is like supposed to be a different timeline from like our Sonic, like the modern games.
Yeah, yeah.
So like we have to know that there has to be something after Mania and Mania Plus. We have to know that there's some other
Yeah,
plot
yeah.
because if they just say, hey, after Mania Plus it's Sonic Adventure, then it's like, then what's the point in you revisiting the old design and saying this is a new character,
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so I'm actually pretty happy that there's Sonic Superstars. I'm super happy based off what I've seen that it has new gameplay stuff too.
Oh yeah, like there's a lot of stuff that's like side scrolling, but then sometimes it jumps to like there's a thing where it shows that kind of like the secret levels up, but it looks like more 3D looking the way he's jumping around and
Mhm.
stuff. And then it shows there's some stuff where they transform into like squids or something that look like pixely like electric squids or something.
Yeah, like stuff like that was pretty cool. And like that's the thing that I can't wait to see because I mean, yeah, I'm a really big Sonic fan and I've been waiting honestly with the fact that I heard and saw like the trailer later about Sonic being revealed, I was like, you know what? Like I'm definitely like
Like
this
it
is a
was a
part of my wish
surprise.
list.
It was a big
It was
surprise.
it really was because no one like there was no leaks about this.
I don't remember
There
hearing
was
anything, no.
no rumors. Literally everyone was just like, "Oh yeah, games are going to be announced tomorrow." And I'm like, "All right."
Yeah, and then
Sonic
there's
Superstars gets
what's two things that are cool. One, it says all platforms out this fall, so that's pretty soon. And the other thing I was gonna say, I just feel happy for Sonic overall. Like for a while, he was like, man, around that Forces era, you know what I mean? He was just doing really bad. And since
Oh, and
then,
Boom too. Boom, it was sucking bad for him there too, dude.
yeah, exactly. Like the Boom games didn't do good. Forces didn't do good. So for a while, he was like doing really bad. Oh, and then when like the original design came out for the movie, all that stuff. But since
Oh
then,
yeah.
since then he's had two good movies. Sonic, what was it called? The one that hasn't Prime, which that
Hmm.
showed more of that. What the hell's up with that? But anyway, Sonic Prime was pretty good. The two movies are pretty good. Sonic, oh my God, what was it called? Sonic Frontiers was pretty good.
Hmm.
And then this game's coming out, so it really feels like Sonic's back. It feels like he's kind of, he's had a
He's
bit of
taking
a comeback.
over.
He's had a bit of a comeback. I feel happy for him. Yeah. Then some other games I want to talk about just real quick. Other ones I thought were pretty big. They showed gameplay for Alan Wake 2. That was pretty cool. They kind of revealed there's going to be like another protagonist. So it'll be jumping back and forth between like an FBI person and I guess you can call it like the real world, and then Alan Wake in like the dark world, whatever you call it. So that was pretty cool. And they also revealed the game's coming out in October. They revealed there's going to be a game in November, a new Yakuza game slash like a dragon. It's going to be, I guess, to connect to the eighth game, and it's going to star Kiryu again, and it's going to be like in the original style, and it's called Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. So I think they're going to kind of show how by the seventh game, looks like he's kind of free of everything, and he'll be free to join the guy in the eighth game, I guess. So that was pretty cool. And then the one that was really big, that was the thing that they ended on, is that they showed a new trailer, and it looked like it was a bit of gameplay too, like when they're running around the environment, for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And I thought it looked really
Yeah.
cool. They revealed too that's going to be 2 discs.
What?
So it's crazy because the original one for PS4, you had to install a data disc and then the actual like, game disc, right? Because the game was so
Hmm.
big that basically I don't know how it works, but right, but it was like a whole like you had to, like it was so big, right? So if this was gonna be 2 discs, And remember, Blu-ray disc can hold what, like 100 gigabytes or something? If
Mm-hmm.
it's 2 discs, and based on what they showed, I think the world is going to be huge. You're going to be able to play through.
Mm-hmm.
Because just think about how big the first one was, and that was only Midgar, right? In some like areas. This one, it literally shows them running through like a huge open world environment. So I think it's going to be like even bigger. Like I think a big chunk of the game is going to be this second part. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought it looked really good. I thought it was cool that they do show there's going to be a playable Yuffie and Red 13. If you look at some parts, it shows their little bars on the side. It shows that they're playable. And I don't know, man. The environments look cool. The graphics look good. The trailer's crazy. I don't want to spoil it, but it like pulls up a lot of questions and a lot of mysteries, especially because we know that this game is following like a different sort of timeline. It's messing with the original canon, and we don't know what's up with Sephiroth, and there might be even multiple ones and all that stuff. So it definitely looks like it's messing with some stuff, and we really need to figure out what is happening. So I'm just excited. I thought it looked really interesting, very mysterious. I don't know what to expect. It definitely raises a lot of questions, but I'm excited. And basically said that, yeah, early next year. So there you go.
Yeah. Imagine the fact that the freaking remake of no, not remake, the original FF7 was just 3 discs for the PS1. Bruh, if there was like 2, well, okay, 1, because the fact that the data disc we don't count as the game, we'll just count as something else. If we had 1 disc for the first part, 2 discs for the second part. Imagine how many discs we're gonna need for like the third part, even if it isn't like that big.
Even if it was just one, that's already 1 more disc than the original PS1 version.
That would be 4, yeah.
And like I said, the third part could even be like another 2 discs again. We'll have to see.
Yeah, like literally, it can be very like.
Oh my god, does that mean freaking third part's gonna come out on PS6?
Maybe.
Oh god, that's really crazy to think about. Oh my god. Yeah, play Final Fantasy 7 across 3 different generations: PS4, PS5, PS6. That's crazy to think about.
I'm already in I'm in my 20s, and I'm like, oh yes, guys, the final part has finally came out.
Oh my god, for reals, Jesus Christ! But like I said, there was a lot of good announcements. I didn't even talk about them, but all of them. Oh, the last one I guess I can just throw in because I just saw it real quick. We also got a release date for Spider-Man 2. And it is October 20th. So we have a lot of games coming out in October, from what I saw. Yeah, there was like 3 games that are coming out in October. Sonic, we don't even know, but it said fall. It also said November-ish, fall-ish for like a Dragon. So we have a lot of games coming out towards like October, November. So that's pretty cool.
Nice. I was very excited for Sonic.
Yeah, so I thought Summer Game Fest, I thought it was pretty good. I know a lot of people, as usual, or this was boring, whatever. I thought it wasn't like the best, most mind-blowing thing, but I thought the presentation was pretty good. I thought it kept having these little fun announcements here and there, so I enjoyed it. In my opinion, I thought it was pretty cool.
Nice.
And like I said, you guys are free to look at it below, link in the description, and see if there's some announcements I didn't cover that you're excited for. So there you go. Speaking of earlier, when you said about rumors and leaks and all that, as the title of the second article states, Persona 3 Reload and Persona 5 Tactica announcement trailers leaked by ATLUS West. So I think we talked about it before. There's supposed to be an Xbox Games Showcase coming up. And I guess one of the things they were going to talk about was the Persona games. But unfortunately, ATLUS West leaked these games ahead of time. Whoop, whoop. But we now know that, yes, the rumors are true. There is a Persona 3 remake coming out. And yeah, it's called Persona 3 Reload. So that's pretty cool. And I know it's kind of hard to find the trailer because it keeps getting pulled down because of copyright, all the good stuff. But if you look at it, it basically looks like it's following the original story. It looks like it's being pretty faithful, but it has kind of a style of the 5th one, where they're really updating it, making a big open world, better lighting, new UI, that sort of thing. But
yeah,
the one thing that does piss me off, though, even though I am excited for this, I do want to play it. I have been waiting for this. I told Terrific too. I had wanted to play one of the Persona games on the channel. I had hoped to start with 3 because it's the first one of like the trilogy. But I didn't want to pull out like a PS2 or emulate it because there's problems. So I waited for the port. The port finally hit all systems. We start playing the game. By the time this one comes out, because it does say, I think it says expected for early 2024. We'll probably be finishing Persona 3 Portable Port. And, we're playing Persona 3. And if I had known, maybe I could have just waited for this one. You know what I mean? Like, it pisses me off so much.
Yeah.
Like, that keeps happening where it's like, oh, let's just play it. It'll be fine. Finally get around to playing it because, like, the port comes out. Oh, there's a remake coming. It's like, God damn it.
New version
I should have
comes
waited for the
out.
stupid port then. I could have played the port. It's like, it pisses me off. But it is what it is. That's the one thing that bothers me. But whatever. Whoever's watching on the channel, you guys will get an idea of the thing. And then there you go. You guys can play the remake on your own time. I think that's a pretty good idea, And as for Persona 5 Tactica, basically it's another spin-off to Persona 5. This time, I don't know what the deal is, but it shows the Phantom Thieves. They're like in some sort of virtual world from what I can see. And yeah, it's just kind of chibi style like the Persona Q games. And it's like a tactical game where it still has RPG elements, but it looks like it's different. Like, they don't really show too much, but it definitely looks like the gameplay is going to be different of how you like do stuff. Because I don't know, some people said it kind of reminds them. They're like, is this the spiritual successor to like when they did the Fire Emblem Cross Persona, and they ended up doing that game with like the idols? They're like, is that like a spiritual successor? Because this kind of reminded people of Persona / Fire Emblem with some of the stuff they showed. Because it looks like you're kind of leading like an army and like defending bases and stuff. So we'll have to see more about that as it gets closer. It's supposed to come out in November, but it looks interesting. It does look very different. Like, they're doing something different again. So pretty interesting. But yeah, it's pretty cool that we know more Persona projects are coming. I'm excited, though I am, like I said, a little mad that, like, man, barely started the playthrough of Persona 3 Portable into the port, and then like, oh, there's a remake. It's like, I should just wait for that.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and then speaking of remakes, there's another one. Oh, actually, no, this one's a remaster, sorry. So the Persona ones are, that's a remake, because that means, it's going to be a bit different. As for this one, it is a remaster, but as the title of the article states, Shadows of the Damned Remastered and Grasshopper Direct 2023 announced. So like I said, we're in the middle of a bunch of gaming news from all sorts of companies. Grasshopper, who is the one that makes a bunch of the Suda51 games, are the ones who kind of publish it. No. Well, sometimes they publish, sometimes they help just develop. But yeah, apparently they're going to have their own direct on June 15th. And one of the things that they're going to talk about, I guess, is that, yeah, they finally took control of Shadows of the Damned away from EA, and they're going to remaster Shadows of the Damned. So that's pretty cool. For anyone who doesn't know, Shadows of the Damned is this pretty cool game for the 360. Don't remember if it came out on the PS3. I want to say, was it just 360? I don't remember, actually. It might have been both systems. But the point is, it's from like that generation. And it sucks because it's this game that Suda51 really wanted to make. And it was supposed to be like a collaboration between Suda51, some of the people that worked on like Resident Evil 4, and I think the person who made the music for the Silent Hill games. So it's supposed to be like a really cool like horror action game. And unfortunately, though, EA was the publisher, and so they really messed with it. Like, you can look it up, and they really changed the game around, changed a lot of stuff of like the original ideas he had, all this stuff. And so it ended up being this game that didn't sell very well, and like Suda was like really disappointed about. But luckily, as they kind of say in the little short teaser, they got the rights away from EA. So it's their game again. It's their character. They can do whatever they want with it. And I'm hoping that if they do this remaster, maybe they'll fix up some of the stuff that they wanted to do the first time. And if you don't know anything about the No More Heroes series, in the Switch exclusive, the Travis Strikes Back or whatever, they had like a bit of a sequel hook or sequel bait, whatever you want to call it, where they said like, oh, maybe we'll see the return of like the main character, like the return of like a sequel of like the story. And who knows, maybe if the remaster goes good, maybe they will make the second part. We'll have to see. But that is pretty good news. It's kind of nice to see when a company, takes the rights back to like their own property. I think that's always really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't know anything about Shadows of the Damned, right?
Nope, I've never even heard of it up until
Never
this
even heard of
moment,
it?
actually.
Damn, not bad.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those games that, like I said, Suda51, he wanted to work on it. It was supposed to be really cool, really dark, action horror game. It was supposed to be a big collaboration between all of these, really cool people, like the Resident Evil 4 people and
And Silent Hill,
person.
yeah.
Yeah, and then it just ended up totally getting twisted by EA. Totally became a different thing. But hey, the fact that, they have control of it again, we'll have to see what they do with it in the future. It's pretty cool. So, oh, and the other thing too, since they're gonna have a direct, I don't know if the direct will only focus on that. I hope that that's like the big part of it, but hopefully there's other stuff coming out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because Suda51 always makes some interesting stuff. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I think that was pretty exciting news. Like I said, I'm always excited when someone's able to take the rights back to like their property. I think that's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, one of the comments I want to share real quick though. If you look at the link in the description below, man, some people's read rate comprehension is just terrible, dude. Like the trailer literally says that they have control of the series again, right? Grasshopper. So EA is not going to be involved. One of the comments is someone talking about how happy they are that Suda51 and Grasshopper have the rights, so maybe they can make changes. And then one of the people comments, Suda may have developed, but EA is the rights owner. And they go on to like complain about how the game might still be like a disaster. Like, did you not pay attention to anything? They said EA does not have the rights anymore.
Yeah, it's so.
Oh my god, I'm telling you. See, as I'm talking about, the fandom can ruin things, man. Freaking people, like their reading comprehension's terrible. Their paying attention to stuff is terrible. Like, oh my god, it's just, it's just one of those shake my head sort of things, man. It's just like, come on, man. But yeah, that's it for the news. As you can see, a lot of news, like I said, coming out because of all these game companies. I know there's more game news coming out soon because there's the Xbox Showcase coming out soon. There's the Grasshopper Direct. I'm still hoping, like I said, that Nintendo will have some news going on. So that's it for now. But hopefully in the coming week or two, hopefully we have more news. So I am excited. I think we're in a good season right now for all sorts of updates. Pretty cool stuff,
Yeah.
And that, of course, brings us to our topic of the week. And this time it's going to be one of those different ones where we're not going to say, check out this anime, check out this manga, check out this video game series or whatever. And heck, I'm not even going to say, check out this YouTube channel, because we're talking about all of these like directs, showcases, and I'm talking about how we're in the middle of video game news season, and it's really exciting. One of the other directs I watched, I guess I really talk about it. You can check it out for yourself. Every year, I love checking out what Devolver Digital does, because Devolver Digital is this, kind of indie publisher that they publish games, but it's always indie games, and they always do like a few a year. Like they're the ones who did, I think, Cult of the Lamb. I think one of the years they actually had Suda51 as a guest. There's a year, I want to say it was like 2017, where they're the ones that I think I talked about on our podcast when I was talking about my love of E3, where they had like a overnight, like 12-hour long stream that was, it seemed like it was a bunch of like Adult Swim stuff, which was really weird. If you remember, I told you.
Yeah,
they always
I
have like
really
really, yeah, they always have really fun conference stuff, right? Because they always go out of their way to showcase indies, of course, that they're publishing, but they mix it with a weird Adult Swim robot chicken style humor, where like they aren't going for their usual conference. Like they're always going for something crazy, and they always kind of make fun and parody other stuff. And so this year was the same. And I won't really spoil it for you. All I'll say is you should go check it out. But this year they made fun of supposedly like a returning, platformer mascot, even though like it's not even a real mascot, but they made fun of that. It was really funny, really weird. And what I'm trying to get to is that that's why this time what I am suggesting / recommending as the topic of the week is that I think everybody should go check out Devolver Digital Showcases. Every year, like I said, I've been watching since like, I don't know, maybe like 2016, 2017. That's the first one I really remember. because it started with that like crazy 12-hour stream or whatever. But every year they have some really crazy out there, really fun showcases. Like a few years, like they've had like a recurring story where there was this lady called Nina Sunders or something like that. And it was like this lady that she's supposed to be like the like kind of like when Reggie used to run it, she's like the face of the company, and she how can I explain it? Like she's the one who like introduces the stuff, right? And
the presenter.
basically it shows her like going insane and being really aggressive and crazy and stuff. And like I don't know how to explain it. It's just one of those things where you have to really watch it because she kind of like parodies and makes fun of all of those like presenter people. And then, like I said, they also make fun of just like the format. They make fun of like the way like, they bring it back like 3D platformer cat mascots. They make fun of the way like people engage in crypto and, special editions of stuff. And I don't know, man. They just like, it's just really fun. It's just one of those things where you really have to like watch it, but all their showcases are really great. And I don't know, man, if you can find the one, I'm telling you that was like 12 hours. It was just really fun because it was just like a nonstop, almost acid trip of like a content that felt like you're watching like Adult Swim. It was just really fun. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just one of those things where you should just watch it, dude. It's just like really fun. The way they make fun of other companies and the way they just go all balls to the wall every year is really cool. But it's also really cool because every year it's really good production value. Like they really go out of the way to like really good production value. Like in this newest one, even though I don't really want to spoil it, like I said, it's about them bringing back supposedly like a mascot. And what's really cool is that, just kind of spoil a little bit, they actually gets like a real 3D like platform mascot. So they insert him into a bunch of indie games, and act like he was always in them from the beginning.
That is super cool.
Like Cult of the Lamb, they show like supposedly he was like a playable, cult member. And supposedly Hotline Miami, it shows like his face, like he was one of the animals. And like all these games, they show like he was there supposedly. Like, he was like a cameo appearance. And of course he wasn't, but the way they like add him and make games to make it seem like he was really like a character, really good production value. And so every year, man, they just have some really fun conferences that like if you're bored of like the usual song and dance that these companies do, Devolver Digital always does something really fun. So that's why I think, go watch them. They're super crazy. I think they're awesome. They're funny. So yeah. Only thing that I didn't like about this year is that they did not show the recurring character, Nina Struthers. That's her name, Nina Struthers. She's like this conference lady, super crazy. A lot of people think she kind of has that like kind of psycho look that people think is kind of hot. Kind of section didn't come out this year, but that's like my only complaint for this year.
No.
Yeah, but I would say go check them out if you haven't seen them. They have some really fun content. Like I said, the way they parody all this stuff and show it, I think it's really good. So there you go. So yeah. Alrighty, guys, and that brings us to the end of our podcast. As you can see, a lot of stuff for you guys to check out if you're interested. A lot of news coming up, and just more news if we're patient, hopefully. And yeah, for sure, next week we'll try our best to be back. Hopefully, we'll have some news from the Xbox Showcase, the Grasshopper Direct, and once again, fingers crossed. I'm still hoping that if not a Nintendo Direct, hopefully we at least get some information of when one is coming up. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's in our podcast down. Hopefully you guys had a good time and enjoyed it. Yeah, that's been Weeb Rabbit and Legend Jonathan. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.